With no hope left, we made a final call to a most dangerous species. Commander Ethan Blake leaned over the main console, staring at the star map. Red dots marked destroyed colonies, one after another, a trail of human failure that stretched across the solar system. His hands were clenched into fists. "We are running out of time," Ethan said quietly. His voice carried the weight of a man who had watched hope disappear slowly day by day. Around him, the crew of the Odyssey moved with tense purpose, checking instruments, scanning for enemy signals, or simply sitting in silence, waiting for the next shock. Lieutenant Claire Harris stood at the navigation station, her eyes fixed on the flickering holographic display. "Mars' orbital defenses are gone," she said, her voice steady but soft. "I don't see any signs of survivors. The Helix Armada moved fast." "Faster than anything we've ever seen," Ethan nodded. "I saw the reports. It's bad, worse than bad, and Earth we might be next." His words hung in the air. Everyone knew he did not exaggerate. The Helix Armada had more ships than Earth could count. Each one was heavily armed, fast, and almost impossible to fight. Humanity had been losing for weeks, but no one wanted to admit that the situation was nearly hopeless. In the corner, Luke Morgan, the pilot, ran his hands through his short brown hair. He looked older than his 28 years, his face lined from stress and sleepless nights. "We can't just wait here," he said. "We need a plan, something, anything. We can't lose everything without trying." Engineer Sarah Lynn shook her head. "We've tried everything we can. Weapons, defenses, tactical maneuvers, nothing works. They are stronger, faster, and smarter than us. I'm not sure any plan will save us now." Tactical Officer David Young stood quietly near the rear bulkhead. He was the youngest on the ship, only 22, but he had already seen more battles than most officers had in a lifetime. "We can still fight," he said softly, almost to himself. "We may be outnumbered, but humans can do things they don't even realize sometimes. We just have to find a way." Ethan turned to face them all. "David is right. I know it sounds impossible, but giving up isn't an option. Not yet. We need to find someone who can help us." Claire frowned. "Who could possibly help us? The Helix don't negotiate. They destroy everything." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "There is maybe one option." His words were careful, almost fearful. "But it is dangerous, and no human has ever done it. We would be risking everything on a chance that might fail." Luke raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about?" Ethan hesitated, then he spoke slowly. "There is a species far away beyond the regions we've explored. They are called the Veyari. Some people say they are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, fierce, strong, and merciless. But they respect courage, they respect intelligence, and if we can reach them, maybe, just maybe, they would help us fight the Helix." Sarah's eyes widened. "Are you serious? You want to call the Veyari? That is crazy. They don't help anyone. They destroy everything in their path if they feel threatened." Ethan nodded. "I know, but we have no choice. If we stay here, the Helix will reach Earth, and that will be the end of humanity. We either die trying to call the Veyari, or we die fighting the Helix alone." "I'd rather try the first." David took a deep breath. "It's risky, yes, but it might be the only hope left. We have to try." Luke slumped into a chair. "I don't like it, not one bit, but I can't argue with the choice. If anyone can survive a meeting with the most dangerous species in the galaxy, it's humans. Somehow, we always survive." He gave a small, bitter smile. Sarah sighed, shaking her head. "I just hope our courage is enough. I don't think anything else can match the Veyari's power." Ethan walked over to the central console. "We don't have time to wait. I've already started tracing old transmissions, signals that might reach the Veyari. The process is delicate. If we make a mistake, they may ignore us or worse, consider us enemies." Claire stepped closer. "How do we even send a message? We don't have coordinates, and any wrong move could alert the Helix." Ethan tapped a sequence on the console. "We have fragments from old intelligence, signals sent centuries ago. We can use them to make contact. It will not be easy. It will take focus, and we have to be ready for anything." Hours passed. The crew worked tirelessly, calibrating transmitters, checking frequencies, and decoding old alien data. Outside, the Helix Armada continued its silent march toward Earth, a slow but unstoppable shadow moving across the solar system. Finally, the transmission was ready. Ethan and Claire stood at the console. Luke and Sarah were nearby, tense and alert. David's fingers hovered over the tactical panel. The Odyssey was quiet now, the crew holding its collective breath. Ethan pressed the final button. A pulse of energy shot out into deep space, carrying their message. a call for help from humanity to the Veyari. Minutes stretched into hours. The crew stared at the star-filled void outside, waiting. Nothing happened. The tension grew unbearable. Luke broke the silence. Maybe they didn't get it. Maybe it's too far. Maybe they don't care about humans at all. Sarah leaned against the console. Or maybe we just doomed ourselves by calling them. If they see us, if they come, we have no idea what might happen. David, quiet until now, spoke with a calm that surprised everyone. Patience, that is all we can do. They are not like the Helix. They don't act immediately. They observe. They decide if someone is worth their attention. Hours passed. The Odyssey floated alone, tiny against the vastness of space. Ethan stared at the stars. Memories of destroyed colonies flashed through his mind. Children, families, soldiers, scientists gone in an instant. He clenched his fists. Humanity had reached its lowest point, and yet somewhere beyond the stars there might be a chance, a small, dangerous chance. Claire walked over to Ethan. "Do you really think they will come?" Ethan looked at her. His face was drawn and tired, but his eyes held determination. "I don't know, but I do know this: if they don't, humanity is finished. If they do, maybe we can turn this around. Maybe we still have a future." Luke spoke up, his voice low. "Even if they come, what do we say to them? We're nothing compared to their power. How can humans ask a species like that for help?" Ethan's voice was firm. "We show them who we are. Not just survivors, not just desperate, but humans. We fight with courage, we think with intelligence, and we never give up. That is what might make them listen." Sarah shook her head. "I hope that's enough. I hope humanity is worth saving in their eyes." Night fell over the distant planets as the Odyssey drifted through the darkness, carrying its fragile human hope. Outside the ship, the stars twinkled like distant eyes, indifferent to the struggle below. But within the ship, a different story unfolded. Humans who refused to give up, humans who believed in the impossible, and a crew that dared to reach for help from the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And then, without warning, the communications console flickered. A faint signal appeared on the screen. The crew froze. Ethan stepped forward, staring at the pulsing light. "Could it?" Claire's hands trembled. "It can't be, not now, not this soon." Ethan took a deep breath. "It is them, it has to be." The room was silent. The crew stared at the console, their hearts pounding. Humanity had made a final call into the darkness, a call that could either save them or end them forever. Outside, the void of space seemed endless. Inside, hope, fragile and burning, took its first flickering step toward the unknown. The Odyssey waited. Humanity waited. And somewhere far beyond the reach of known space, the Veyari had received the message. The first contact had begun. The Odyssey drifted silently in space. The faint signal from the Veyari still pulsed on the console, filling the control room with an eerie glow. Ethan Blake leaned closer to the screen, trying to make sense of the strange patterns. The signal was not a message in words. It was a sequence of lights and pulses, like a rhythm, almost like it was testing them. Claire Harris, standing beside him, frowned. "It's not like anything we've seen before. It's alive somehow. I can feel it, Ethan." Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, it's intelligent. But we don't know what it wants. We don't even know if they understand humans at all." Luke Morgan rubbed his eyes. "So what now? Do we just wait for them to decide if they like us or not?" David Young shook his head. "No, we have to respond. That is how humans survive. We cannot just wait and hope. We show them we are alive, that we are capable." Sarah Lynn's voice was cautious. "And if they don't like us, if they see us as weak, stupid, or food, we have nothing to defend ourselves against a full Veyari fleet. Nothing." Ethan straightened, his jaw tight. "Then we show them courage. That is all we have left, and maybe that will be enough." The crew worked through the night, analyzing the pulses and trying to create a response. Every attempt felt small and inadequate. They were human, fragile in a galaxy that had grown harsh and merciless. Yet that fragility carried something else, persistence, something the Veyari might recognize. Finally, after hours of effort, Claire spoke. "I think I've got it. We can mirror their pulses in a sequence that shows intelligence, cooperation, and something else. A pattern that tells them humans are capable of thought, of problem-solving." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Good, do it. Prepare the transmission." Hours later, the Odyssey sent the mirrored pulses into space. The crew held their breath. Every light, every flicker on the console felt like a heartbeat in the dark. Outside, the stars remained indifferent, but inside, a tiny thread of hope began to grow. Days passed with no immediate response. The Helix Armada drew closer to the outer planets. The crew remained on edge, every warning light making their hearts race. And then, suddenly, a shadow appeared on the long-range scanners. "Contact," Claire whispered. "Something is coming." Very fast, Ethan leaned over the console. The readings were unlike anything human sensors had ever recorded. The ship was enormous, larger than anything the Odyssey could imagine. Its surface shimmered with strange energy fields, moving like liquid metal, reflecting the light of distant stars. Luke swallowed hard. That is them, the Vayari, it has to be." The ship moved closer, slow but deliberate. Its size and power were overwhelming. The Odyssey looked like a toy next to it. Yet, despite the fear, Ethan felt a strange sense of pride. Humans had reached out to the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they had responded. A voice spoke from the communication console, not in words but in vibrations felt through the hull and interpreted by the ship's sensors. Ethan felt the meaning more than heard it. "They are observing. They have noticed you." Claire's hand hovered over the console. "They're studying us, trying to understand." Ethan nodded. "Yes, and we have to show them who we are, not weak humans begging for help. We have to show courage, intelligence, determination." The Vayari vessel came closer still. Its surface rippled, and a bright beam of energy scanned the Odyssey. The crew felt the pressure of their eyes as if the alien ship could see inside their minds. It was frightening, overwhelming, but also exhilarating. Humans had never faced anything like this. Sarah whispered, "I feel like it can see everything, my thoughts, my fears." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "It can, but fear is part of being human. Courage is how we respond to it. We have to show them courage." Suddenly, a holographic figure appeared inside the control room. It was tall, humanoid, but clearly alien. Its body was covered in dark, reflective armor, and its eyes glowed faintly. It radiated power and authority, and yet it seemed to look at each crew member individually as if measuring their value. Luke stepped back. "By all the stars, it's real. It's actually here." The Vayari being spoke, but the words were not sounds. They were impressions, images, and emotions that the crew could somehow understand. Ethan felt the message in his mind. "Why do you call us?" Ethan swallowed, steadying his voice. "We are human. Our species faces extinction. The Helix Armada is destroying everything we have built. We have no one else to turn to. We ask for help, not as supplicants, but as equals. We can fight if given a chance." The Vayari figure tilted its head, as if considering him. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the Odyssey's engines. The crew waited, tense and fearful, knowing that any wrong move could end everything. Finally, the being spoke again. This time, the message was clearer. "Why should we risk ourselves for your species? You are small, weak, and fragile." Ethan met the gaze of the Vayari. "Yes, we are small and weak compared to you, but we are human. We have survived impossible odds before. We have created, learned, and adapted in ways no one else could. Courage is not measured in size or strength. It is measured in action, and we act." The Vayari's eyes glowed brighter. The impression was one of curiosity now rather than aggression. The being extended a hand, and the console lit up with a new set of patterns, a test. The humans understood immediately. This was a challenge, a way for the Vayari to see if they were worthy. Claire's fingers flew across the controls. "It's a test. They want to see if humans can think, solve problems, work together." Luke shook his head in disbelief. "A test from the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Are we ready for this?" Ethan nodded. "We have no choice. We do what humans do best. We fight the impossible." The first challenge appeared on the console. It was a complex simulation of a battle scenario, with multiple variables, changing conditions, and limited resources. The crew worked together, communicating quickly, thinking fast, and making decisions under pressure. Every choice mattered. Every second counted. Hours passed. Sweat ran down foreheads. Fingers ached from typing. Eyes burned from staring at screens. And yet, despite the exhaustion, the humans pressed on, showing creativity, cooperation, and courage. Finally, the simulation ended. The console lit up with a new signal. The Vayari were impressed. The feeling Ethan received in his mind was unmistakable, approval. The alien figure stepped back, observing. Its armor shimmered and the patterns on the console shifted again. The message came through: "You have potential. You may survive if you continue to prove yourselves." Ethan exhaled, relief flooding him. "We did it, the first step." David smiled, though tired. "Humans are humans. We survive when no one expects it. We fight when all seems lost. Maybe they see that now." Sarah shook her head in wonder. I can't believe this. We actually impressed them. The Veyari, they are real and they are noticing us. Luke laughed quietly. Yeah, maybe humans aren't as small and weak as they think, at least not when it matters. Ethan looked at his crew, pride swelling. This is only the beginning. The Helix Armada is still out there. Earth is still in danger. But now we have a chance, a real chance. The Veyari are watching us. They may fight with us if we keep proving ourselves. The alien figure retreated to the larger Veyari ship, leaving a faint trail of energy in the Odyssey's sensors. It was a signal, a promise that they were not finished. Humanity had passed the first test. They had shown courage, intelligence, and determination. And in the vast, cold reaches of space, that was enough to gain attention. Ethan turned to his crew. We have hope now, not complete certainty, not guaranteed survival, but hope. And hope is all we need to fight. Claire smiled softly. It feels strange. We've been so close to giving up, and now we can fight back. Maybe humans are stronger than anyone gives us credit for. Luke leaned back in his chair, exhausted but smiling. I like that. Humans, the species that fights when everyone else runs. I've always known we had it in us. Sarah laughed quietly, the tension easing slightly. It's not over, not even close, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like we might survive. David placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. And survive we will, together. Humans always survive, we adapt, we fight, and we endure. That is what makes us dangerous too in our own way. Ethan looked out at the stars, the faint shadow of the Veyari ship in the distance. The next steps would be harder. The Helix Armada still threatened Earth. But now humans had an ally, a dangerous but potentially powerful ally. And for the first time, the hopelessness that had hung over the Odyssey for weeks began to lift. Somewhere in the dark reaches of space, the Veyari had seen humanity. They had tested them. And they had been impressed. The final battle was not yet here. The war for survival still loomed. But humans had made the first move toward survival. They had reached out, faced the unknown, and proven that even the smallest species could show courage that could be recognized across the galaxy. And that courage, fragile but burning, was the first step toward changing everything. The Odyssey had never felt so small. Outside the ship, the Veyari dreadnought floated like a shadow across the stars. Its surface shimmered with energy that the human crew could not fully understand. Yet inside, the atmosphere was different. Tension was still there, but it was mixed with a new sense of possibility. Humans had passed the first test, and now they were about to take the next step. Ethan Blake paced the control room. His mind raced with possibilities and dangers. The Veyari were not allies yet. They were powerful, unpredictable, and deadly. But they were watching. They had acknowledged humanity's courage. That alone gave the crew hope. Claire Harris adjusted the sensors. Ethan, they're not moving closer. They're waiting, observing us. I think they want to see more. Another test, maybe. Ethan nodded. Yes, and we have to be ready. They may ask us to prove ourselves again in ways we haven't imagined. Luke Morgan leaned back in his chair, his fingers drumming nervously on the console. I don't like it. The closer they are, the more I feel like we're sitting on the edge of a knife. One wrong move and we're finished. Sarah Lynn shook her head. And yet we have to do it. This is our only chance to save Earth. If we fail, there is no one else. David Young spoke quietly. It's strange, isn't it? We're facing the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and somehow we have hope. That is what makes humans humans. Ethan looked at his crew. Exactly. Humans survive when no one expects it. Humans fight when the odds are impossible, and humans adapt when others cannot. That is our advantage. That is why we may have a chance. Hours later, a new signal appeared on the console. It was stronger, more complex than the first. The Veyari were communicating directly now. The message was not in words, but images, impressions, and emotions that the human crew could understand. Claire focused on the display. They're showing us battle scenarios, ship formations, alien tactics, strategies we've never seen before. They want to train us, test us, see if humans can think like them. Ethan swallowed hard. Then we do it, we adapt, we learn. That is what humans do, that is what we must show. For days, the crew worked with the Veyari's guidance. The simulations were intense. The Veyari tested their problem-solving, teamwork, and courage. Each challenge was harder than the last. The humans made mistakes, but they learned quickly, adapting to the alien strategies and surprising even themselves. Luke piloted virtual ships in simulations that spanned light years. His maneuvers were daring and creative, showing instincts and intuition that impressed even the Veyari. Claire calculated complex navigation paths, avoiding traps and ambushes that the aliens had set in the simulations. Sarah adapted human technology, modifying weapons and shields to work with the Veyari systems. David coordinated attacks and defenses, thinking faster than anyone could imagine. Ethan watched them, proud. This is it. This is what makes us human. We adapt, we survive, and we fight when all seems lost. After another grueling simulation, the Veyari projected an image of their fleet. It was vast, more ships than humans could count. And then they projected the Helix Armada. The numbers were terrifying. The Helix had grown stronger, faster, and more relentless since the humans' last encounter. The Veyari test was about to become real. Ethan turned to his crew. This is the moment. All we've done so far leads to this. The Helix Armada is still out there, and Earth is in danger. But now we have an opportunity. We fight with them. We fight with the Veyari, and we may just survive. Luke shook his head, his eyes wide. I still can't believe this. We're going to fight alongside the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And we have to trust that they will respect us enough to let us do it. Sarah smiled faintly. Trust, yes, but also courage. That is what they care about. They've seen it. We've proven it. Now we have to keep proving it. David nodded. And we will. Humans never give up. Never. Days passed. The Veyari remained nearby, their presence both intimidating and reassuring. They had not fully revealed their ships or weapons yet, but humans could feel the power that radiated from them. Every sensor reading, every ripple of energy reminded the crew of how small they were and how dangerous. Then, the first direct training mission began. The Veyari allowed the Odyssey to join a formation of their ships. Humans could feel the raw power of the alien vessels, their speed and strength beyond anything the Odyssey could hope to match. The first exercise was simple in concept, but impossible in execution. Maneuver through a simulated asteroid field while under attack from alien ships. Luke gripped the controls, his knuckles white. This is insane. We'll never make it through alive. Ethan's voice was calm. We have to try. That is what humans do. We survive where others fail. Remember, the Veyari are watching. They are not here to kill us yet. They are here to see what we are made of. The simulation began. Asteroids hurtled toward the fleet at impossible speeds. Alien ships swarmed around them, attacking relentlessly. Luke's hands moved faster than ever, dodging, weaving, and coordinating with Claire's navigation calculations. Sarah monitored the shields, rerouting energy and repairing systems in real time. David directed counterattacks, coordinating humans and Veyari together. Hours passed in the simulation, though it felt like minutes. The human crew learned the alien strategies, anticipating attacks, finding weaknesses, and exploiting them. The Veyari observed silently, their attention fixed entirely on the humans' performance. Finally, the simulation ended. The console lit up with a message, a signal of approval. The Veyari had seen enough to know that humans could fight alongside them, not just survive but contribute to battle in ways they had not expected. Ethan exhaled deeply. We did it. The first real test. We are no longer just observers, we are participants. Luke smiled, exhausted but proud. Humans, we really do adapt. I can't believe we did it. Sarah laughed softly. It's only the beginning. The real test is still out there. The Helix Armada waits, and we have to be ready. David nodded. And we will be. Humans always fight. We endure. We survive. And now we fight with allies who respect that. The Veyari projected another message. This time, it was an image of a distant part of the galaxy where the Helix fleet had concentrated. The humans understood immediately. This was where they would strike next. The Veyari were offering humans a chance to plan, to prepare, and to participate in the fight. Ethan studied the image, his mind racing. This is it. This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. We work with them, we fight, and we save Earth. Claire placed a hand on his shoulder. Do you think humans are really ready for this? The Helix, they are relentless. Ethan smiled faintly. We are ready because we have no choice, and because humans never back down. The odds are against us, but that is when humans shine. That is when we show what we are truly capable of. Over the next days, the Odyssey and the Veyari fleet prepared. Humans learned alien tactics, adapted their technology, and trained in ways they had never imagined. The Veyari were strict, demanding, and sometimes harsh, but they were also impressed by human ingenuity and courage. The crew felt themselves growing stronger, smarter, and more confident with every passing hour. Luke spoke one evening as they monitored the Veyari ships. You know, I never thought humans could do this. Not with our technology, not with our numbers. But somehow we are keeping up, we are learning fast. Sarah smiled. That's human nature, we survive, we fight, we adapt, and when we have to, we even impress the most dangerous species in the galaxy. David leaned against the console. It's strange, isn't it? We were almost finished. Helix was about to wipe us out, and now we have allies, we have a plan, and we have hope. Ethan looked at the stars beyond the hull. Hope, yes, that is why humans survive. Even when all seems lost, we find a way. The Helix Armada thinks they can destroy us, but they haven't seen the full power of humanity yet. Not when we fight with courage, intelligence, and determination. Not when we fight together. The Vayari watched. They observed. And slowly, humans proved themselves worthy. The final battle was still ahead. The Helix Armada had not yet been challenged, but the first steps had been taken. Humanity had reached across the galaxy, touched the edge of the unknown, and shown that even the smallest species could have strength that others could not see. And in the darkness of space, the Odyssey moved with purpose. Humans had a plan, humans had allies, and humans were ready to fight. The war was far from over. But humanity, fragile yet unbroken, had begun its journey toward survival, and toward becoming a force that even the most dangerous species in the galaxy had to respect. The Odyssey and the Vayari fleet moved silently through space, approaching the outer edge of the Helix Armada. The human crew had trained for weeks, adapting to alien tactics and learning to think like the Vayari. Every maneuver, every calculation, every decision had been practiced, tested, and perfected. Yet nothing could prepare them for the reality of the battle ahead. Ethan Blake stood on the bridge, staring at the vast formation of Helix ships stretching across the darkness. The fleet was massive, hundreds of vessels bristling with weapons, moving with precision and speed. The Helix had not noticed the humans or the Vayari yet, but once they did, the fight would begin. Claire Harris adjusted the sensors. They're bigger than anything we imagined. Even with the Vayari, this is going to be dangerous. Ethan nodded. Dangerous, yes. But humans survive when others fail. Remember, we've trained for this. We've learned, we adapt, and we will fight with courage. That is what makes us dangerous too. Luke Morgan gripped the controls. I've never felt fear like this before, but I think I'm ready, we're ready. Let's do it. Sarah Lynn worked at the weapons console, checking energy levels and shield strength. We've adapted our systems to work with the Vayari ships. We may be small, but we can hit hard and fast. We just need to stay coordinated. David Young nodded. And we will. Humans never give up. We endure, we fight, and we survive. That is what we do. The Vayari dreadnought moved forward, its massive form blocking the light of distant stars. Smaller Vayari ships flanked it, forming a protective ring. Ethan felt the raw power of their presence. Humans had never fought alongside such strength, and yet for the first time they felt capable. Ethan gave the order. Prepare for engagement, stay close to the Vayari, follow their lead but act with initiative. Remember everything we have learned? We can do this. The first shots came suddenly. The Helix fleet had detected the Vayari presence and fired without warning. Beams of energy lanced across space, striking distant ships and sending debris tumbling into the void. Luke's hands moved fast, dodging and weaving through the chaos. This is it, hold tight. Claire guided the Odyssey, calculating trajectories to avoid Helix attacks while keeping in formation with the Vayari. Shields at maximum, brace for impact. Sarah rerouted energy to reinforce weak points in the hull. Sparks flew from overloaded circuits, but the Odyssey held steady. David coordinated with the Vayari ships, directing them to intercept Helix fighters and protect human vessels. The battle raged across the void, a dance of fire and metal. The Helix fired relentlessly, but the humans had learned the Vayari way. They anticipated attacks, countered with precision, and struck where the enemy was weakest. Ethan's voice rang through the bridge. Stay focused, remember humans adapt, humans fight, humans survive. Use everything you've learned. Luke maneuvered the Odyssey close to a Helix destroyer. I've got a clear shot, cover me. Sarah adjusted the weapons system, linking it to the Vayari targeting arrays. Firing. A beam of energy tore through the destroyer's hull, sending it spinning out of control. The crew cheered, though the battle was far from over. Every victory was temporary, the Helix were relentless. Hours passed, the battle continuing without pause. The humans proved themselves again and again, surprising the Vayari with their creativity and determination. Small ships like the Odyssey struck quickly, dodging attacks and exploiting weaknesses, while the massive Vayari dreadnoughts crushed enemy formations with sheer power. Ethan watched the battlefield, a mixture of fear and pride in his chest. "Humans are dangerous," he muttered, "not because of size or strength, but because we never give up, we never surrender, we adapt." Claire's voice came over the intercom. "Ethan, there's a Helix command ship ahead. If we can take it out, it might turn the tide of this battle." Ethan nodded. "Then we do it. Luke, can you get close enough?" Luke's hands flew over the controls. "I'll try. We'll need to use everything we've learned." "It's risky, but we can do it." Sarah adjusted the weapons systems again, linking them to Vayari fire patterns. "Timing is everything. We strike together." David coordinated with the Vayari ships. "All units focus on the command ship. Human ships join in. Strike fast, strike hard." The Odyssey and a squad of human and Vayari ships advanced on the Helix command vessel. The enemy fired with desperation, trying to defend their leader, but the humans moved with skill, using tactics no one expected. Luke dodged a series of attacks and fired at weak points in the command ship's armor. Sarah's calculations ensured the shots hit their targets. The Vayari flanked the enemy, crushing smaller ships and protecting the human vessels. Ethan felt his heart pounding. This is it. The final strike? The command ship shuddered under the combined fire. Explosions rippled across its hull, and finally, with a bright flash, it broke apart. The Helix fleet faltered, their formations disrupted, and their morale shaken. The tide of the battle shifted. Helix ships began to retreat, unsure how to face a force that combined Vayari power with human ingenuity and courage. Ethan exhaled, relief flooding through him. "We did it. We actually did it. Humans and Vayari, we fought together and won." Claire smiled, though tired. "The Helix is retreating. For the first time in weeks, humanity has a chance." Luke laughed quietly, his adrenaline still high. "I can't believe it. We actually pulled it off. Humans really are dangerous when we have to be." Sarah nodded, her eyes shining. "We've proven ourselves, not just to the Vayari, but to ourselves. Humans can fight, humans can adapt, and humans can survive." David placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "And we will continue to survive, together, humans and Vayari. The Helix may have thought we were weak, but we've shown them what humans are capable of." Ethan looked at the stars, the remnants of the battle stretching across the void. The Odyssey had survived, and so had the human crew. They had faced overwhelming odds, adapted to alien strategies, and fought alongside the galaxy's deadliest species. The Vayari commander's presence loomed nearby, observing the human crew. Ethan felt the approval in his mind, a recognition of their courage and determination. They had earned respect, not through raw power, but through resilience, intelligence, and bravery. The battle was over, but the war was not. The Helix Armada had been pushed back, but they would regroup. Earth was still in danger, and humanity's journey was far from finished. Ethan turned to his crew. "This is just the beginning. We have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of, but we must continue to fight, continue to adapt, and continue to survive. That is what makes us strong. That is what makes us human." Claire smiled softly. "We've come so far, I never thought humans could do this, and yet here we are." Luke leaned back in his chair, exhausted but proud. "Humans fight when they have no choice. Humans survive when others expect them to fail. That is who we are." Sarah laughed quietly. "And now we have allies who understand that. The Vayari respect us. They see what we can do. That is a powerful thing." David nodded. "And together we will face whatever comes next. Humans endure, humans fight, humans survive." Ethan looked out at the stars, the Vayari ships shimmering nearby, the Helix retreating into the distance. Hope burned in his chest. Humanity had faced the impossible, reached across the galaxy, and proved that even the smallest species could fight like no one expected. And in the darkness of space, the humans of the Odyssey knew one truth. As long as they had courage, intelligence, and determination, they could face anything the galaxy threw at them. The war was far from over, but humanity had taken a stand. Humanity had shown its power. And humanity had proven that even against the most terrifying odds, they could survive, and even triumph. The Odyssey drifted through the calm after the storm. The Helix Armada had been pushed back, scattered across the edges of the solar system. For the first time in weeks, the crew felt a fragile sense of relief. The stars outside shone clearly, free from the flashes of battle, yet the humans knew the war was far from over. The Helix would return. But humanity had survived, and for the first time they had allies who respected them. Ethan Blake stood on the bridge, staring at the Vayari dreadnought nearby. The massive ship shimmered in the starlight, its presence both awe-inspiring and reassuring. The Vayari commander observed them silently, radiating power and authority. Ethan could feel their approval, subtle but unmistakable. Humans had proven themselves capable of more than survival. They had proven their value as allies. Claire Harris joined him, her hands resting lightly on the console. "Do you think they truly respect us?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, they've seen what we can do, our courage, our intelligence, our determination. That is what they respect. Not our strength, not our numbers, but what humans are capable of when faced with impossible odds." Luke Morgan leaned against the bulkhead, exhausted but smiling faintly. "I still can't believe it. We actually fought with them and held our own. We survived." Sarah Lynn adjusted the sensors, monitoring the Vayari fleet. "We've learned so much. We've adapted to alien tactics, weapons, and strategies. I never thought humans could do this, and yet here we are." David Young's voice was quiet but full of conviction. "This is who we are. Humans endure, humans fight, humans survive, and now we fight with allies who understand that." Ethan turned to the crew. "The battle is over for now, but the war is not. The Helix Armada will regroup. They will come back stronger, faster, more determined. But we are not the same humans they faced before. We've learned, we've adapted, we've proven our worth, and together with the Vayari, we will face them again." The Vayari commander projected a message, not in words, but in images and impressions. It was clear, simple, and powerful. Humans had earned a place among the Vayari as equals in strategy and courage. The message carried no false praise, only acknowledgement. Humans were worthy of respect, not for their size or strength, but for their determination, creativity, and willingness to face danger head-on. Ethan felt a surge of pride. "We've done more than survive," he said. "We've shown that humanity matters. That we can stand alongside the most dangerous species in the galaxy and still fight with our own minds, our own hearts, our own courage." Claire smiled. "It's hard to believe. Just weeks ago, we were almost finished. The Helix had destroyed everything, and now we have hope." "Real hope," Luke laughed softly. "Humans are strange creatures, weak, fragile, almost hopeless, and yet somehow dangerous. The Helix thought they could crush us. They were wrong. We never give up. We adapt. We fight. That's what makes us dangerous." Sarah nodded, her eyes bright. "And now we have allies who understand that. The Vayari see what humans can do. They respect us. That is a powerful thing, more powerful than any weapon." David placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "And together we will face whatever comes next. We will survive, we will fight, we will endure. That is who humans are." Ethan looked out at the stars, the shadows of the Vayari ships shimmering in the distance. The universe was vast, full of danger, full of unknown threats. But humanity had made its mark. They had reached across the galaxy, contacted the most dangerous species, and proven that even the smallest species could make a difference. The crew gathered in the control room, exhausted but filled with a quiet pride. They had faced the impossible, and they had survived. The Vayari had seen their courage, their intelligence, and their determination. Humanity was no longer just a fragile species on the edge of destruction. They were a force to be reckoned with. Ethan addressed his crew. "This is only the beginning. We've shown what humans can do. But we cannot stop here. The Helix Armada will return. Earth still needs us. Humanity still needs us, and we will be ready. Together with the Vayari, we will fight, we will adapt, we will survive. That is what we do." Claire looked at him, determination in her eyes. "And we will. Humans never give up. Even when all seems lost, we find a way. We endure, we fight, we survive." Luke leaned back in his chair, exhausted but smiling. "I never thought I'd see the day humans would fight alongside the most dangerous species in the galaxy and win. Somehow we did it. We survived when no one thought we could." Sarah laughed softly. "And we've learned so much. We've adapted to new strategies, new technologies, and new ways of thinking. Humanity is stronger than anyone ever imagined." David nodded. "Stronger, yes. But also smarter, braver, and more determined. That is what makes us human, and that is why we will survive whatever comes next." Ethan turned back to the stars. The remnants of the Helix fleet were visible in the distance, retreating, regrouping, and licking their wounds. Humanity had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Yet for the first time, humans had allies who respected them, who recognized their courage and intelligence. The Vayari commander projected a final image before moving away. humans and Veyari fighting together, side by side, against the galaxy's threats. It was a vision of hope, of cooperation, and of future victories. Ethan felt the weight of the message. Humanity had a place in the galaxy now, not as victims, not as weak survivors, but as equals in courage and ingenuity. Ethan turned to his crew. "We've done something extraordinary. Humanity reached across the stars, contacted the most dangerous species, and earned respect. We've shown that we are not weak, we are capable, we are human, and we will continue to prove it." Claire smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "Humans are strange, aren't they? Fragile and weak, yet so powerful in ways others cannot see. Courage, intelligence, determination, that is our strength." Luke laughed softly. "And stubbornness, don't forget stubbornness. Humans never quit. We survive when everyone else expects us to fail. That is our greatest weapon." Sarah nodded. "And now we have allies who understand that. The Veyari see us, they respect us, and that makes all the difference." David placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "We fight together, we survive together, humans endure, humans adapt, humans win." Ethan looked out at the stars, the Veyari fleet shimmering nearby, the Helix retreating in the distance. Hope burned in his chest. Humanity had faced the impossible, reached across the galaxy, and proven that even the smallest species could fight with courage, intelligence, and determination. The Odyssey drifted silently, carrying its crew home. They were tired, battered, but unbroken. They had survived when all seemed lost. They had faced the most dangerous species in the galaxy and earned respect. They had fought alongside allies stronger than anything humanity had ever known. Ethan took a deep breath. The war is not over. The Helix will return. But we are ready. Humanity is ready. We fight, we survive, we endure, and we will win. Claire smiled softly. Humans always find a way. Even when hope seems gone, we reach out, we adapt, we fight. That is who we are. Luke leaned back in his chair, exhausted but proud. And now the galaxy knows it too. Humans are not weak. Humans are dangerous. Humans survive. Sarah laughed quietly. Yes, and we've learned so much. We've grown stronger, braver, smarter. Humanity is more powerful than anyone ever thought. David nodded. And together with our allies, we will face whatever comes next. We endure, we fight, we survive. That is the human way. Ethan looked at the stars one last time before turning to his crew. Remember this moment. Humanity reached across the galaxy and proved its worth. We have courage, intelligence, and determination. We are not just survivors. We are humans. And we will continue to survive, fight, and win. The Odyssey moved forward, leaving the remnants of the Helix fleet behind. Humanity had survived the impossible. Humanity had proven itself, and humanity had earned a place in the galaxy, not as victims, but as a force to be reckoned with. For the first time in weeks, the crew allowed themselves to feel relief. They had faced the darkness, reached for the unknown, and discovered that even in the depths of despair, humans could shine brighter than any star. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the Veyari fleet moved alongside them, silent but powerful, watching, respecting, and acknowledging the species that refused to give up. The universe had taken notice. Humanity had arrived, and humanity would survive.